Okay, I've been dealing with this problem for over 4 years now, and I am just gonna see if somebody can help me. Somebody that maybe knows if they've ever heard of this. I was working out in my yard, and I was hit in the head with a rose bush, and it's about a 7-foot tall rose bush, and it swatted me in the head 2 times. The wind was blowing about 50 miles an hour, and I do live in Kansas, so this does definitely, we get some strong winds here. So after I got swatted in the head, I came in, looked in the mirror, couldn't see anything, didn't hurt, there was no punctures, nothing, so I just put a hat on and went back out. So that happened, and then about 6 months later, I started having this itching on the back of my head. And I kept itching, and then I noticed there's a big bump, and eventually I ended up having this horrible big place that started coming out. That there were thorns that just were pushing their way out of my head little by little, and they were like razor blades. So the more I got them out, the more they come out, and it's just excruciating. I would wake up in the middle of the night. It would be so painful. So I would dig these out, and I would put them on this sticky paper for the first, 2 years that I did this, because I just didn't know what to do. I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to go to the doctor. So finally my daughter came home, and she moved in with us, and I was digging in my head, and then I had another spot that was at the front of my head here. And so it's like there was just different places all on this side of my head where the branch hit me that I would have thorns that would take forever to work their way out of. And so my daughter forced me to go to the doctor. Well, when I first went to the doctor, I didn't even take anything in to show her what I got out of my head. And the first doctor I went to, she basically just told me, after looking at my head for 20 seconds, not knowing me, she gave me a medication called Seroquel. She gave me 4 bottles, 2 150 milligram, and 2 were 100. And the medication is for schizophrenia. So after that happened, I called the biology department at Wichita State. I was so humiliated. I came home, I cried. My sister told me I was crazy. My daughter looked at me like I was crazy. Everybody thought I was nuts, that I was imagining this. So I started collecting the pieces from my head. And this is what I started collecting, were these pieces right here. And as you can see, these pieces are, you've got big pieces that look like thorns. It just would be little by little, but these were really sharp. And so, yeah, I started collecting these after I went to the first doctor. And then I made an appointment with the dermatologist. But also, after digging these out of my head, I realized that I also had places on my fingers. And you can see around my fingers, I had like calluses that were starting to build up. And they were getting to be very uncomfortable. And it was like these 2 fingers on that hand, and then these 2 fingers. These are like my tweezers. And also my thumb. So I started clipping the little areas from around my fingers. And this is what I clipped off of my fingers. And so when I told the dermatologist, when I went to the dermatologist 3 weeks later, I told her about all this. She told me, and the other doctor had told me, that was impossible, that nothing can transfer from your head to your fingers, no matter what. That's impossible. Well, I don't know about you, but that's sharp razor blades coming out of basically those thorns. So this went on for, I went to those 2 doctors. The dermatologist sent my thorn, took a biopsy of my head, and she basically sent it off to the lab. I tried to give her thorn to take with her. As you can see, these basically just come out of my head. It's very, it's just horrible, because if you've ever had a thorn in your finger, it's like you just can't leave it alone. And it's like a triangular or a diamond shaped normally, and you see the hair falls out and then it grows back in once I get the thorn all the way out. Well, this has been in here for, oh God, 2 years probably, this spot right here. And this spot back here has been in here for over a year and a half. So yeah, it's just totally a weird situation. So I ignored it, and then last January 2012, I went to the emergency room after I collected the thorns from my head, and went in and told them that I had a new spot, and they basically, they looked at me like I was crazy and almost started laughing. So I left there and just decided that I would live with the thorns forever. Well, about 2 months ago, I went to lunch with a girlfriend of mine, and I had this area on my face here that you can still see a little bit, that I noticed that I had thorns growing out of, like literally, I thought it was a blemish, and then I noticed that I had these pieces that were like looking like just like a normal, the thorns, and this is basically what I got out of my face. Now, the girl that I went to lunch with, her fiance is a orthopedic surgeon. So I told her about the thorns because I felt like she was staring at this thing on my face here while we were eating. Told her that I had thorns growing out of, that I had them in my head, and they were in my fingers, and they went to my face, and that I even had them inside my mouth. They're basically growing up the tooth. I have one, and then I have another one that looks like it's in between the teeth, and now it's starting to push my crowns up, so my teeth are getting kind of distorted back there. So, and then also my fingers here. See these two fingers? Now I have thorns growing out of these two joints here. It's very, you see how ugly that is? That one and that one. So yeah, that started a couple months ago too. First it was just like a big bump like this one, and then after I get the thorns out, it looks more like this one. These are the pieces that I got from my fingers right here, and you see this huge piece right here, this I got out of this finger. And oh my God, it was so painful. It just throbbed. So yeah, I got that huge piece out of my finger, and then all these other pieces too. So where are they? Try to find them so that you can see what I'm talking about here. Oh, okay, here they are. Yeah, these are all the other pieces that I got out of my finger. So I know that doesn't look very clear. There we go. So yeah, those are out of my joints from my fingers, and literally it's like I have to yank that. I had to yank out of my finger. It hurt so bad, my finger just throbbed. Now these are the pieces that I've gotten from my mouth. These are new, and you see those are pieces out of the back of my mouth now. And literally, these pieces, these thorns in the back of my mouth are just gigantic. So anyway, if somebody could please, if they've ever heard of this, I don't have any infection. The girl that is engaged to the orthopedic surgeon, he actually told her about this rose thorn disease, and he took my samples and had them checked at the lab, and they are thorns. My face, my head, my fingers, they were all thorns, but there is no infection because I take lysine, and I also take echinacea, I guess. I'm not sure why, but I do have them growing out of my body, so if somebody can help me, I would really appreciate it. So, please, I'm just screaming for help. As you can see, I have a new place on my face here too. and this one is really hideous. So if anybody can help me out, this one, it's like they first start out and they're like a big bulge, and then they're an indentation in my face. So yeah,